refreshed and ready to go. Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We are your multi-award winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We are steering, we are guiding you through on deadline day as Johnny and Ash have been through casting, back through makeup, and they're beautifully looking fine for round 2 of this transfer window. I've gone over to Ireland. And back with me, I've got somebody that Spurs failed to do when they went to Germany. I've gone and brought someone back with me. I've brought wonderful Dave over the Irish Hotspur. Dave, thank you so much for coming on. How are you? It's a busy next few hours on Last Word on Spurs. Thank you for finding time for the LWS family, which you're massively part of. How are you?
No, look, thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't get on earlier, even though I was listening to you while I was on the bus and stuff like that. But look, it's a busy day, a very busy day. Look, we got one in. Is there room for one more? Let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see. Look, guys, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. We've got a busy next hour and a bit in store where we're trying to make work the wonderful Ash Matic, bless him, at the Spurs Kings. Please go and keep hitting and liking and subscribing to the Spurs Kings. Like I say, we're putting one down in terms of Miles. We're picking one up in terms of Ash. We are very blessed and very lucky to have those two wonderful people for us in the community. Please go and make sure you're liking and subscribing to Ash Matic over at the Spurs Kings. Keep liking and subscribing to the wonderful David Irish Hotspur. They've just dropped a video there in terms of telling us more. Mathys will come on to him in just a second. And also the wonderful Johnny Hammy. Check him out on Insta, on X. We've got it all to come on this show. Let's give you a round the top analysis of where we are during this transfer. And let's go from the very, very top. We understand the breaking news on this transfer deadline day is that Tottenham are in talks to complete the signing of Mathys Tel from Bayern Munich. As things stand, there is still a discussion over whether that will be a permanent or whether it will be a loan deal. We are waiting further clarification, further analysis on where we stand with regards to that transfer. He is currently, I understand, in Farnborough, I can tell you, and is doing the necessary due diligence, necessary checks he needs to do ahead of completing a move to Tottenham. Lock the doors, lock everywhere you need to be. Make sure we get this one over the line. We understand that is very, very close. We also understand, since last being on air, Spurs are continuing to persist over a move for Axel Disasi. In terms of where this move is at the moment, there are some doubts in regards to some of the UK-based journalists how credible Tottenham's interest is. But as things stand at the moment, from what we're being told, Spurs are absolutely keen on getting this deal done for Axel Disasi, despite concerns out there that maybe he wouldn't be the particular profile of player Tottenham will want. So it's going to be a big next few hours in store on Last Word on Spurs. We'll keep you posted with regards to that. But there are doubts out there over the level of Spurs' interest for signing Disasi. That is coming from Jacob Steinberg over at The Guardian. In terms of other big news, look, we brought to you early this morning that Tottenham Hotspur were looking on trying to do a deadline day deal for Mark Guehi. We understand, according to, again, Jacob Steinberg from The Guardian, that attempt has now hit a firm brick wall. Tottenham will not be proceeding with trying to sign Mark Guehi on this deadline day and have therefore instead potentially turned their attention to Disasi of Chelsea to try and get a deal done. This all comes into the fact that, unfortunately, we are expected to have confirmation later, potentially tonight or tomorrow. Radu Dragusin is expected to miss the remainder of Tottenham's season. That is the breaking news as things stand. We expect Radu Dragusin to miss the remainder of Spurs' season. We are awaiting further verdict and analysis on the issue that he has got. We understand he's meant to be undergoing a scan and seeing a specialist later on this Monday for further information on that. Let's start with Dave on this last one on Spurs. Dave, a crazy last 24 hours in the Tottenham fan base. We woke up this morning to not a sight of a striker, but to the news that Tottenham were pushing for Axel Disasi. In these last few hours, it appears Tottenham have done a U-turn on Tel. Tell us more. What have you made, Dave, of this transfer window and this deadline day?
Do you know what? It's a mad day, Ricky. I actually wasn't expecting us to really do much today, to be quite honest. I was expecting it to be a lot of other deadline day. So much so, I actually told the missus, you know, I'm supposed to do a fan show tonight. I'll put that off. I said, I'll take you out for a meal because Tottenham will be done by 5 p.m. And it turns out I still have to go for the meal. I think, you know, I'll be checking my phone for updates while I'm there, if not checking in here. It's an absolute mad day. But you know what? The fact that we haven't committed long-term to tell, I'm a bit more at ease with the deal. I just think it would have been a really bad message to send out, you know, selling them Harry Kane for 100 million and giving them back, you know, 60 or 50, 60 million pounds plus for tell. I just think it would have been a bad sort of message to send out. It would have looked bad on Tottenham's behalf. But the fact he's coming on loan eases my concern around the deal. However, again, I still worry, are we making the same mistakes we made in the summer? Make no mistake about it. This is an opportunistic deal. This wasn't at the plan at the start of the window, in my opinion. And I just wonder, to what impact is he going to come on and have on this Tottenham team? You know, we've seen with some of the younger signings that we've signed in the forward areas, you know, have they really come in and had the impact that we've necessarily needed? And when I look at Mathys Tel and look at our problems in the forward area, you know, and our biggest problem is supplying that striker on a regular basis. Is Mathys Tel going to solve that problem? I don't think so. And the thing is, for me, I think Mathys Tel is an out-and-out striker. I don't really, you know, subscribe to the opinion that he's a winger. And I think that's what Tottenham's going to use him for at the end of the day, is out wide. And I'm just not sure he comes in and solves a lot of our problems. You know, what we need is someone that can have a similar impact to what Kulusevski had a couple of years ago when we brought him in terms of producing them numbers out wide. And I'm still hesitant whether this guy can come in and have that impact or not. He is a prospect. He is a huge talent. But talent takes time to develop, and I'm just not sure whether he's going to come in and save our season the way many fans are hoping. However, to caveat that, when you look around on what's left on the market today, he's probably the best one you probably could have brought in.
Yeah, like I said, I think Spurs at the moment running out of options in terms of forwards and definitely running out of options in terms of defence. Again, just to bring you that news from earlier today, we understand that Spurs were trying to launch an audacious last-minute bid for the Crystal Palace defender and captain, and that, of course, is Mark Guehi. We understand that Spurs, from their perspective, were keen to put an offer as high as 55 million, plus additional bonuses that would take it to 70 million. I've been told from a fairly reliable source close to me that that was an official bid Tottenham submitted. It was turned down. We spoke earlier on the show with regards to the validity of that bid as to whether it was more of a PR stunt rather than a genuine attempt. I have to ask you, Dave, to stick with you. Didn't get your opportunity to ask you this on Mark Guehi. What do you make of that bid for Mark Guehi at the timing of it? Because you felt if Tottenham desperately wanted Mark Guehi as their number one target, and we're led to believe from reports, Tottenham put that bid in for Guehi actually before completing the signing of Danso. You would imagine that should have been done right towards the start of the window, when, as we knew, just to be very, very clear, December the 8th, they lost Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero to injury. 3 days later, Ben Davies went down as well. So to leave it to deadline day to put in a bid for Mark Guehi, whilst many out there might think it's ambitious to have done so, the timing gives Crystal Palace absolutely no chance, Dave, of bringing in a replacement.
Do you know what, Ricky? It's one that you have to weigh up. If Tottenham approached that at the start of the window, all of a sudden you do alert a lot of other big clubs that will be interested in his availability, and you also give them a bigger chance to be able to strike the deal, despite our need for him. However, like you mentioned, you know, player of that caliber, you are going to have to give Crystal Palace time to be able to go and negotiate and replace him. And the fact that we've left it so late, you're not giving Palace that time. So they're never, ever going to accept it in the middle of a campaign when they're also trying to fight off a relegation battle. Never, ever going to accept it. But, you know, this was my whole problem back in the summer. You know, why don't we go after an Eze or a Guehi then? You know, they would have already had a massive impact on this season, and we wouldn't be scrambling around a few days left trying to tempt Crystal Palace into a deal that they were never going to accept towards the end of the window. Look, I appreciate the ambition, but I also wonder how much of it is down to the pressure on the board right now. Are they only showing this level of ambition because of their scrutiny and pressure on them? Also, last thing I would say is, are we getting a full story around Mickey van der Ven? And that is that why we're so gung-ho to try and get another centre back in here?
Yep.
We already know that Romero's going to take a lot longer to come back than initially expected. Dragusin, like you said, we're expecting to be out for quite some time. Mickey van der Ven didn't play against Brentford, and I would hazard a guess, if there wasn't something wrong with him, why wouldn't he be on the bench just in case? And that's why I think we're not getting the full Van de Ven story. And I fear, will he be available for that Liverpool game or not? And is that why we're in the market right now, trying to drastically bring in another centre-back very, very quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it's on this point, I just say, from one story to another, which is changing, I just say, minute by minute, minute by minute, second by second. Coming over to Ash on this point. Ash, we're getting conflicting reports right now of what is going on with regards to Axel Disasi. I know many have called him Axel Disaster. Just to be very, very clear where we are at the moment on this, we are getting a lot of conflicting reports. We're hearing from Jack Pitt-Brook, Tottenham are back in talks over a potential loan move for the Chelsea defender. Spurs are in discussions with the player and Chelsea over a potential deal, which had seemed so unlikely earlier during the day. I can tell you Fabrizio Romano has just followed up and has said that Axel Disasi continues to reject Spurs' proposal. I mean, Ash, we spoke about this earlier for about 3.5 hours. I mean, can you quite believe we are negotiating with a football club that hasn't done business with us for the last 20, 25 years? We are trying to sign a player that clearly does not want to come to Tottenham. What is going on here? Please, Ash, if you can, unpack the mess that we are in with regards to Axel Disasi.
No, you really can't make this up. I mean, no once, no twice, no 3 times. Like, I don't know, Lionel Richie settings right now. I don't get why we keep persisting with it. And yeah, it's like we do business the wrong way around. Normally, you want to kind of get a feeling of the player, see if the player wants to come, try to agree some personal terms, and then go on to the club, and then get the deal done with the club, and that way that you're in a chance of signing a player. But we've gone the other way around, and disaster. Like, the profile of the player, not everyone's happy with him. I know he was at Monaco before. Did a bit more research as we were offline, and I know at Monaco he did play as a right-sided centre back. He did play in the back three as a central centre back, right-footed predominantly, but has played on the left as a left-sided centre back as well. But again, that was in the back three at Monaco. I'm not sure if he's played at the left side for a Chelsea centre back. But the point being, when you look at Disasi, I was hoping for the saucy, you know what I'm saying? But we might be getting a Disasi. He might be a bit more sassy.
Oh my goodness gracious!
So many nicknames, it's crazy. But yeah, physically, he's physical specimen, athlete, yes. Pace, not too sure. On the ball, not too bad, not as bad as I'd thought before, and I've looked at him a little bit more. But again, it just comes down to, is there any planning going ahead? Are we just in the wild, wild west and just trying to unload, and we're just trying to shoot in any direction? That's the $1 million question for me. So Spurs, Lange, the people, are you really recruiting these players, looking for what we need? And are you replacing and helping out Mickey Van de Ven and putting less pressure on them? Because as I said before, Sanchez left. He was a left-sided centre back with a left foot. He had a bit of pace. Fan base hated him, and he made a lot of mistakes. And then now you're bringing in a Disasi who's right-footed.
Well, can I just say, Ash, as you say this to us, we are getting reports which are breaking right now where we are. Fabrizio Romano is reporting that where we are with regards to Disasi, just to be very, very clear at this moment, which I feel is changing all the time, that Axel Disasi is absolutely not accepting a move to Tottenham. But, however, the deal is completely, and he uses the term, stuck. It's stuck because we understand Tottenham have got an agreement with Chelsea in place for the player, but the player hasn't got an agreement in place for Tottenham. I mean, I said to you actually earlier, Ash, isn't it bizarre? Football these days, there's certain things that are done behind the scenes. You'd normally tend to try and agree a deal with the player in advance, sometimes before you talk to the club. I know it's not meant to be like that, but that's kind of the way football is. We're in this very unique situation right now that Tottenham have got an agreement in place with Chelsea for a player that they've never really had done in like 20, 25 years. And what is the case now is that not once, not twice, but we have to be honest about this. At the third, fourth, the fifth occasion, it feels this player does not want to move to Tottenham, and yet we are still persisting. So you can only imagine how desperate things are right now to get a defender. And clearly Ange must have agreed to this, because why would we keep on pushing like this? I mean, you do feel, Ash, at some point, give it up, surely.
Yeah, you made a good point about Ange there, actually. If Ange is accepting this, he clearly wants the player as well then. It's a funny one. I was listening to an interview with Troy Deeney, and Troy Deeney was like, certain times you'll be, as a player, sitting down with the group, and, you know, the interviewer asked him, you know, do players say goodbye, you know, before they leave? And he goes, no, sometimes you'll be sitting around, and then all you will see is the group, this player has left. And that was it. You wouldn't even know the player's gone. And the reason why that is because a lot of the players that get sold on or loaned out or moved on, they don't actually want to go to the club. So it's quite interesting to hear that source from Troy Deeney, who's actually a professional footballer. He used to play for Watford, and he was actually linked to us at one time before we got the striker Vinicius Jr. No, not Vinicius Jr., the one from that went to Fulham.
Carlos Vinicius. Carlos, not to be confused with the great Vinicius Jr.
Yeah, just to be very clear, just as crazy as transfer deadline day is, I can tell you, as much as we love Ashmatic, we haven't signed Vinicius Jr. just yet, and that would be a complete turnaround. Can I just say that would be incredible.
Instead of buying Fernandez, you know, we instead of Bruno Fernandez, we got Edson Fernandez. Yeah,
Fernandez.
Jr.
I know you want to keep dreaming, Ash, about our fantasy business in these next few hours. I mean, I'm not even sure we can make that a reality. And let's definitely go. Listen, go on?
Can I just come in on?
Go on.
I just wanted to come in on what Ash was saying there around, you know, Postecoglou accepting this. What choice has he got at the deadline day? He's been screaming for players since December. It's clear that the window has gone wrong. Any experts to speak about the deadline day, they always say it's opportunistic. Opportunities come your way. This is where we're at in the market.
There's opportunities, and there's damn right ridiculous. I mean, we're hearing reports that the player is rejecting the football club. I mean, at what point, Dave, do you just think we've got to step away now? We've got to step away. You know, how can you be in a situation where we are near on this is nearly 24 hours since it's being reported. We are hearing from numerous sources, Dave, the player does not want to come to the football club, and yet we are continuing to pursue it. I mean, is it not beggars belief, Dave? Beggars belief, surely.
That's absolutely beggars belief. Look, when I seen the U-turn on Mathys telling, and then I seen this story follow up very quickly after, it stinks of me that Postecoglou was in with Daniel Levy and Johan Lang this morning and said, right, guys, what business can we get done? We said we can't. They said, you know, can you get on the phone to Mathys Tell and try and convince him? He's ended up doing that. And I think we're at the same point with Disasi, where they're hoping that Postecoglou can get on the phone, speak to this player, speak about what they're going to do with him over the next 6 months, etc., and hopefully pull him into this football club. It stinks that they're relying on Ange Postecoglou to get these players over the line. What the hell did they fly out to Bayern Munich for then? Is that not their job? Is that not what they're supposed to do? But, you know, what I'm trying to say is, you know, Ash was saying, oh, well, you know, Postecoglou's accepting this. What choice has he got right now? He's been asking for players. You know, we were told that there was plans. It's clear that they've got wrong. But he needs bodies in the door. So if they're coming to you and saying, well, look, we can't get you anybody else, but we might be able to get a Disasi, or we might be able to go and get a Mathys Tell. Right now, where he's at, he's no option but to accept them.
All right. So I'll ask you this, bro. Ask me this. 55 million for Guehi, right? But loan for Disasi. Why not use that money that you have for Disasi to buy the option and buy a proper left-sided centre-back?
Look, I agree with you, but that's not an Ange Postecoglou. You know, they clearly can't get anybody else in.
You know what?
Deadline day is about opportunities. No one's going to part with a guy for 65 million today, knowing that they have 4 hours to go out and sort out a player to try and get him in here. Nobody. That's why the club tried to put in a bid for Mark Guehi yesterday or the day before, not today, because there's no hope of getting it done. But where we are today, with deadline day and being such an opportunistic moment, at any time a player could come on the market and available because the club has done business.
Yep,
that's where Tottenham are at right now, and that's what Postecoglou has to accept right now.
Look, John, I need to bring you in. John, I need to bring you in on this point. You know, you've been here, bless you, like literally from the afternoon. We were on this show at the start of it, where Spurs were going in really to deadline day with really no indication of they were going to do anything really. They've then since obviously have got this move that looks set up for Tell. We understand Tell, and just to give that news, tell me more. The secret scout tells us that that is going to be the shirt that Tell will be wearing as the presentation will be later on this evening at Hotspur Way. He'll be presented to the fans. It'll be courtesy of the videos out there. That's the Secret Scout that is sharing us that information. And just on that point, again, we'll make this point where we are right now. The player is undergoing what we're led to believe is a medical. He'll complete his move. We are still unsure whether it's a permanent or whether it's a loan. I think from the uplift that will give fans, and when I say uplift, again, we can't get away from the fact, Johnny, this is a guy that Daniel Levy and Johan Lang went across to Germany to go and sign. They came back empty-handed, didn't get the player signature. Here we are, deadline day, scrambling back, lacking options. We've got him done in terms of it looks like over the line now on a loan. We'll know more about that in due course. But having said that, we're in a situation where for the second occasion of a player who has rejected us, publicly now it appears on multiple occasions, we're still pushing. I mean, can you try and understand the strategy of this transfer window? We're signing more players that have rejected us than the ones that have accepted us.
What I don't get is Andrew's come out and stated over and over again, I do not want any player to come to this club who doesn't want to play for us or understand or is on board with our project. I'd rather they didn't come. His words, not mine, okay? And here we are on the midnight hour and we're bringing in two. Eat your words. Eat your words. Now, I'm not going to blame Ange. I'm going to blame Lange or Lang or whatever you want to call him, right? If he rolls out a video tomorrow saying it's been a very difficult transfer window, honestly, I'm going to scream because this guy has failed. Bloody D-. That's what he is. He's a D-. And the other joker, Scott Munn, okay, who brought him in, should be hanging his head in shame. And what about our poor data department? What's the point of having a data department? Now I can say it because someone's already said it. Lange doesn't use the data center. He tells the data center what to look. These are the players I found. Run the data on these players, like it was said before, who posted on their earlier stream. It's a farce, an absolute farce. Months of planning, months of identifying players, and here we are trying to sign Disasi, who literally 6 games this season. And look, I'll say a couple of positives. He can play 90 minutes, and he's managed to do 4 successful tackles out of 7. Yeah, 7 amazing tackles in 6 games. And, I'm looking for the guy who can produce 4 tackles in a game, right? Not four tackles, successful tackles in 365 minutes. Look, it's embarrassing. I'm hoping that it's a smokescreen. And let me tell you, if Fabio was here right now,
well, he is there, but he obviously is there, but he can't act in accordance with the way he wants to act, Johnny, to be fair on your point.
Listen, I think Tamori's probably more his bag. But I just think that this would be a smokescreen like it was before, where we were linked to 3 or 4 and he pulls one out the side drawer that we're not expecting. Listen, I'm happy to take Tell. And, he offers us plenty of positives, like Ash and I spoke about earlier. His ability to dribble with a ball, his pace, his height is unpredictable. Cut inside, shoots from distance. He's got a lot going on, and I can't wait to see him linking up with Jed Spence, because I think those two together are going to be absolutely dynamic. But the rest of it is underwhelming. Listen, I hope
is it more, Johnny, just to be clear, is it just more the manner of the approach that is upsetting you more than anything else? It's the manner of how we've gone about what we've done. If it was done, listen, I think if it was the 1st of January and we've put that bidding for 10, we've got it over the line, you say, you know what, great forward planning. It's the fact that we've waited to the 30th, well, we're not even we're out of January now, we're the 3rd of February, and here we are on the final hours of the transfer window where we're scrambling. And I think whatever's always been told to me about the transfer window is those clubs that really haven't got a plan are in panic mode, are the ones that operate on deadline day. And it does feel like, doesn't it, Johnny? I mean, it does feel like there is a panic about what we're doing. We're trying to put a bid in for Guehi. We've had a look at some other centre-backs, and here we are now trying to get a couple of players over the line. And look, Tell might be a great player, like you said, but the concern for a lot of Tottenham fans, I think, would out there be these players have rejected us. What have we come to? You know, Tottenham Hotspur, you know, for me, one of the great football clubs in the world, trying to take bias out of it. We're a proud football club. We're proud of who we are and what we are. And we're now being diminished to some degree where we've got players that are outwardly rejected us and we're trying to get the deals done. I mean, is that kind of what we've sunk to at the moment under this current ownership where we're at?
It's appalling. Look, all I'll say is serious clubs take serious action. You know, Villa got rid of Lang and he came to us. Look at Villa's business. No messing about. Get rid of Duran. Bring in Rashford, bring in, you know, what's his name from PSG, Asensio. They're doing deals left, right, and centre. They're a proper club.
Can I just say, as you're talking here, Johnny, we've had some more breaking news coming through to us here from a very credible source out in the French world of Loic Tanz. He goes by Tanzlik for those that obviously follow him on X. We understand that as we are here right now, Axel Disasi, get ready, guys. It could change in the next 5 minutes. We understand Axel Disasi will remain a Chelsea player until the end of the season. He has rejected Tottenham. How many times can one player reject us? I mean, he's rejected us about 15 times in the last couple of days. I mean, it's...
Can you play backing music? What's that that song? Hallelujah. I mean, we look, I didn't want him. I know a lot of fans, because my WhatsApp's been lighting up. He's not that bad, Disasi, trying to convince themselves that those 6 games were a masterpiece. Okay, it wasn't. Okay, better off to have nobody. And let me remind you, this is the same Ange Postecoglou that signed Dragusin last window, reasonably early, you know, well, towards the end, but early enough. I don't remember when he played. When did he play his first game? Was it end of March, mid-March or something like that? So the fact that Disasi would have been coming here, I don't know whether he would have started. He probably need to learn the system. And he's only here for 3.5 months. February, March, April, and halfway through May. 3.5 months. Pointless. Bring players in who are going to be part and parcel of this club going forward. If you have ambition, sign players who have the same ambitions as us. Trying to tell us you were trying to sign Mark Guehi yesterday or the day before. Come on, give us some credit, man. I mean, listen, it was never, ever happening. They were never, ever selling them. And if you think Romero is going, then you should have said, like, if you're going to make any bid, like you said before, Ricky, make it on the 1st of January, a statement bid. We want him, 70 million, bang. There you go.
Well, on this point, I will again just emphasise it is a changing picture all the time here. And Ash will come round to you. We understand that even though it's Chelsea's preference to basically accept the bid from Tottenham, the player is preventing this. So once again, just to be very, very clear, as we stand at the moment, Disasi is outright rejecting any possibility of moving to Tottenham, even though Chelsea's preference is for them to push him towards Tottenham. Have you ever heard of anything like... I can't believe what's coming out of my mouth here, Ash, can you?
Just like, where's the standards gone? I don't understand. After the first rejection, for me personally, if a girl was to reject me the first time, I'm not going to try 3-4 times because then it sounds a little bit... I'm not going to say the word. But yeah, basically, no means no. That's all I want to say on that note. No means no. And Spurs... we're a big club, man. We need to do better. We can do better. We can find better. There's other players that can suit the profile that we're looking for. And as far as I'm concerned, we've got defenders in... we just signed Danso, number 1.
Yep.
Then we've got Romero. So that's 2 right-footed centre-backs. And then Disasi would be a 3rd right-sided centre-back. So there'll be 3 centre-backs with a right foot. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? I would have made more sense to have Ben Davies. All right, so you've got Ben Davies, left-sided centre-back. You've got Mickey van der Ven. That's 2 centre-backs there. And then if you wanted to go for a 1st centre-back, maybe push a left-sided centre-back on that side, because Ben Davies has been at the club for over 10 years. And what a magnificent job and servant he's been. So that would have made more sense to me than to have Ben Davies, left-sided centre-back, Mickey van der Ven, left-sided centre-back. And then if you wanted to go for a 1st centre-back, maybe push a left-sided centre-back on that side, because Ben Davies has been at the club for over 10 years. And what a magnificent job and servant he's been. So And maybe someone slightly different to Mickey van der Ven in terms of he likes to, carry the ball. Why not get a player that can pass in between the lines from the left-hand side to have a different option, not always coming from the right? So it makes us a bit more, or even not, even if you've got a footballer that's got both feet, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a left
100%,
side.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I think it's still fair points. I think it's all fair points. It's very hard, Ash. When you're putting it so eloquently as what you're putting it, it's very hard to try and understand and decipher where we are going with this. I will make that point that I think you said it so eloquently there, coming back around a Dave, that it is, as Ash says there, Dave, about standards. I feel like we're really, really losing our standards and our morals and what we're about as a football club when you're persisting to go after a player that, as number one, is a Chelsea player, which for some would be enough already. But number two, when you keep hearing from outlets and media out there of the continual and utter rejection of Tottenham during this last 48 hours, please tell me, Dave, if this deal does get done, which again is off and on like a tap at the moment, how do you try and sell this to the fan base that even if it's a loan, you've got a player there that clearly does not want to be at Tottenham? Can you try and understand that?
Look, this one's dead in the water for me. The fact that we've even revisited is more than enough, Barris. I can understand if it's a superstar that will come in and change Tottenham's fortunes and you slot them straight into the starting 11 and you go, bam, there you are. It was well worth the wait, well worth simping for the guy. But for a Chelsea reject who doesn't start, I don't understand what we're doing here. It's just beggars belief. And all it's doing is just putting muddy in Tottenham's name even more. But you know what? If you're a player, from a player's point of view, why would you want to come to Tottenham? Honestly, what is there to come to? You're going to have to fight for every signing on bonus or every signing fee, wages, etc. You have to fight for everything first and foremost before you even get here. And then when you do get here, again, you have to just keep fighting. Tottenham are in a relegation battle. A lot of these players don't fancy that. If it doesn't go right, it's absolutely career damaging for a lot of these guys. So, a lot of them don't want to take the risk with Tottenham. And when you look at Tottenham's trajectory since, over the last few years since Pochettino, it's only going one way. The warning signs have been there where we are. You go to sell your best players without adequately replacing them. You're always going to take a back step in the league. You have 3 managers in 1 year, which we've had quite often since Pochettino in terms of managers and interim managers. That's what relegation teams do. You're chopping and changing directions. They could come here and sign on the Postecoglou, but 2 months, give it another month. If results don't go well, he's out the door. All of a sudden, you're playing under a different manager. No player is going to want to come to Tottenham to a certain degree with all the unknowns around it. They're coming here to play in a soulless stadium where the fan base are already on your case before you've even kicked the ball. Yeah. And, there's scrutiny on the owners. And there's so much scrutiny on Tottenham right now. Every single player that plays for Spurs, their game is going to get pulled apart. All their weaknesses are going to be highlighted. It doesn't make sense for players to want to come here right now in this current predicament. And look, the fact that we're chasing him and he's a Chelsea reject, and I just don't understand it. Like I said, I could really understand it if it's a player that's coming in to change our fortunes. You put him in there and you said, that gives us a massive chance against Liverpool. But all you're doing is wasting time. And to be honest, the fact we revisited, it stinks. We don't have Atnas lined up.
You're forgetting the draw, Dave. You missed it early. The draw of Beyonce.
Well, which I can just
really
say on
underestimating
Beyonce, I must just say this on the Beyonce thing for those that missed it earlier. Tottenham did announce at one point that Beyonce was going to be featuring over 4 nights, which Tottenham then quickly deleted the post. And then quite coincidentally at that time, we then saw Spurs rushing through a deal for Mathys Tel, which again, at the moment, that is definitely on. It's a really intriguing, like I say, situation we find ourselves in here where one looks like it's going to get done, another we're not quite so sure. But all I can tell you at the moment is, as far as we are aware, Guehi and Disasi is 100% rejecting, just to be clear, a move to Tottenham. That is where we're at the moment. He's 100% rejecting a move to Tottenham Hotspur on this deadline day, in which has been an absolutely crazy one. Like I say, we've been blessed on this show to be joined by a lot of the regular contingents of Last Word on Spurs. And I just need to get the words of Dave and Ash. Ash has been here for nearly over 5.5 hours. We're letting Ash have a break. He's going to be back with us very, very soon. We love him very much. Dave also is back with us for the Wednesday game to preview Liverpool, where he's now going to go like me after this and try and save what's left of a relationship because of what Tottenham has done to it. Let's quickly go to Ash on this point. Ash, where we are right now, Mathys told we expect to be a Tottenham player. We are expecting that to be done before the deadline as things stands. We're up in the air with Disasi. I asked you for it earlier. How do you see this playing out for you? What's going to happen between now and the deadline? What do you see happening, Ash?
I just think the longer the window goes on, it will be linked to maybe another 1 or 2 players. I don't know, as a surprise, I reckon. But nothing will happen apart from Tell. And I think then that Tell one will eventually be broken sometime later on tonight. And closer to the deadline window, so it gives it that overall dramatic feel. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm expecting. We've seen it before, and Spurs like to pull out these type of PR stunts, and like, you know, we want the fan base to celebrate. So that's what I expect. So maybe like another link to another player, possibly that could be on the cards, because it doesn't look like the saucy, the sassy, whatever, disaster, whatever you want to call it.
It was Axel Foley last night, and TJ Ramini's in the back room just going through casting and makeup. And I've got to bring TJ back on in a few minutes to ask about what he makes of Axel Foley and a potential double act in a movie. So we're going to bring TJ on very, very soon. And Anthony Costa, who won't mince his words, I'm sure, about Tottenham's transfer window. And it's coming on very, very soon. But Ash, just to finish up, if this is what it is, how do you feel? How can you feel?
You know what?
Do you feel? I mean, I suppose. Do you feel confident with regards to the cup games we've got to come, with regards to the second half of the league season? Do you see us? We've done enough to give Ange the best possible chance, or has it just become too late to be able to really?
Done enough, no. But I think a player coming into the squad, it might galvanize them a bit, like the win, a bit like playing the youth. I saw like there was a change in mood, and that kind of poured on to Sunday's result, I feel. So yeah, a player coming in of his stature, a new voice, new energy. As I said before, Tell had linked up with Oderbert at under 21 levels, under 19 levels, so he knows them well. So I like to see the boys linking up, the lads all coming together, and I can see an upturn in energy, and hopefully that has a good impact on our cup run, whether it be the Carling Cup, FA, or the actual Europa, where we need more. I think there's more pressure on the Europa because we know there's a lot at stake with that one.
There is a lot at stake. So, Ash, you're a superstar. We love you very much. Ash, where can we find you? Where can we find you and wonderful Marlon? I've got to say, you two are amazing for us here. Where can we find you? Yes,
you can find us on Spurs Kings TV. And you guys must come down to our house one day, man. Come and visit us.
We've got to come. Once the missus lets me out, I might be locked up for a month after this month. I think February I've got a dedicated tool, so God knows where we're going to be. Whilst Ash like me tries to get the handcuffs off, Dave will also come to you and ask you now where we are in this window. If it is Matt's Tell, how do you feel that being a deadline day signing? And would Disasi actually weaken your feeling about if you want to give us a score rating out of 10? I ask you that because I asked Ash's earlier verdict. Where are you on this window out of 10 for you? Where at the moment it appears it will be Tell, plus obviously Danzo being two signs that have come in, and the Sassy at the moment pretty much 50-50. Where are we in your mind in terms of what you give this window out of 10?
Do you know what? In terms of areas where we need to bring in players, you know, Kinski, Danzo, Tal, I think, you know, we've hit the nail on the head. In terms of overall quality to have an impact between now and the end of the season and really sort of help us kick on and get over the line in these trophies, I think there's a lot of unknowns left in that. So I think for me, do you know what? I'm going to go 5 out of 10, maybe a little bit lower. I don't think it's been a great window or as good as it could have been, considering if we would have acted a bit earlier in the window. I think a lot of it's gone wrong. We're scrambling around looking at opportunities rather than, trying to work off plans. I think Kinski would be the only one that was probably off our plan, and hence why he came here early. I don't think it's been a great window. However, things look like they're picking up a little bit at Tottenham Hotspur over the last 2 games. The kids coming to the fore, beating Brentford. Not many people gave us a hope there. Hopefully, these bodies will be enough to help us sort of hopefully kick on a little bit with some of the players we've got coming back, and, hopefully try and get a cup over the line this second half of the season. Look, let's wait and see. This is the great thing about the transfer windows. We can all sit here and have our opinions. I can sit here and say, I don't think, that Mathys Tel is going to be that guy to really kick us on going forward. The reality is, I just don't know. He could have absolutely come in here, surprise me, and take Tottenham running. You know, no one thought Bentancur and Kulusevski were going to have the impact they had a couple of years ago. So let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see. Dave, you're a superstar. Where can we find the wonderful work you do on a match day for the Spurs community? Where can they find you, Dave?
Yeah, you guys can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. If you just type in Irish Hotspur, it'll bring you straight up. And, just smash the subscribe button there. Of course, after you run the likes up and all, for all these great gentlemen. Do you know what? You guys have kept me entertained all day, actually, doing these streams. I don't know how you've been sitting here for hours just, talking about the transfer window. Well, I lost my mind already. So fair play.
I can tell you, I'm waiting to find out if there's a marriage after this, Dave. I'll let you know if I've still got my children and my wife after this. It may cost me a lot. I want to say a massive thank you. Yeah, touch and go. It's always a case. I want to say a massive thank you to the wonderful Dave at the Irish Hotspur, to Ash over at the Spurs Kings. Once these two are going to go back through Castle and drop off, coming in, can I just say, in the next minute or so, we've got the wonderful Anthony Costa from Blues joining us and the superb TJ Ramini, who reacts to this transfer window, where TJ, I told you 12 hours ago, my mum was saying this, couldn't see Tottenham signing a striker. Well, tell us more. Tottenham are closing in on Mathys Tel on this transfer deadline day. Let's give you a roundup as to where things are with regards to Tottenham's transfer window and how it started to where we've got to now. So at the start of the day, we were led to believe Tottenham were being put off by trying to do a deal for Tyler Dibbling. We understand that the Saints were looking for a bid of around 55 million, which put Tottenham off signing Mathys Tel. And I think for Tottenham at this point in time, they wanted to deviate and look away from that. They decided to not pursue with a move for Mathys Tel. We understand that from their perspective, they were looking also at Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey was a player Spurs were linked with in the earlier part of this window. They looked to revisit that on deadline day, and they've decided that this move isn't for them. That one has dropped down. When you're looking where Spurs have then turned to next, they looked at Mark Guehi as a potential centre-back signing. This was the big deadline day when they started off on here on this deadline day. We're led to believe Spurs put in an offer of around £55 million for Mark Guehi, and it was going to be up to 70 million. They were looking, Tottenham, on a deadline day move. We understand Palace, no intention to sell whatsoever, and that has now hit a brick wall. Hitting a brick wall means Tottenham turned their attention back to Guehi and Disasi on this deadline day, where we understand at the moment this move, according to Fabrizio Romano, is stuck. The player has rejected a move to Tottenham. Tottenham have agreed a deal with Chelsea. And as we understand, as things stand right now, their top target, Mathys Tel, is en route to Hotspur Way. He'll undergo a medical where a move will be completed. Will it be a permanent? Will it be a loan? We shall wait to see. I'm delighted to say on Last Word on Spurs now, I'm joined by, look at these incredible, amazing duo we've got joining us. We're joined.
Hey, get your club colours.
We've got club colours on. We've got, bless him, I got to say, we've got Teach in Florida for 2 nights only. We need to unmute Ant as well. Boys, how are we? Everyone okay? Ant, you can't?
Mate,
how are you? How are you?
Mate, this is proper 90s, bruv. This is where we at. This is where we are at, brothers. Don't give me all this. Don't give me all this. What a great transfer window. We've left it too late.
Do me a favour. I'm going to come on to you, Ant, in just a minute. I'm going to come on to you. I've got to get your thoughts on it.
I'm too excited, Rick. I've missed you, mate.
We missed you too. We've missed you. Tej, bringing you back in 12 hours ago, Tej. You was in that beautiful seat there, in that beautiful scenery. And you turned around and said, Tej, Rick, I just can't see us getting anybody in. And you're right, of any genuine quality. And here we are on this deadline day where Tottenham are looking to close in on the signing of Mathys Tel. We're not sure if it's a permanent or it's going to be a loan. It's been a crazy, crazy 12, 14 hours in here. And let's check in with you quick. We'll go to Tej on his thoughts on the window. And we speak every day. This is why we raise so much, because we're talking every day on this bloody football club.
I know. First of all, it's nice to be on the show. I've been on the show for ages. Nice one, Johnny. Nice to see you, mate. Nice one,
and you,
TJ.
And
nice
you,
to meet you finally. What do you want me to say? What are you asking?
Tell me how you're feeling right now. How are you feeling about this deadline day?
I'm feeling Spurs, and I feel like the fact that we've left it 31 days too late. I believe, it's great getting these signings in now, but we're 8 games in January that we could have at least got them in a week after the transfer window had opened, or at least have a plan. And it just feels if and where and where we could have been if these players were in then, we could have been higher up the table. But I'm going back to the 90s, boys, and I think that it's a shame it's happened like that. We just got to crack on, and hopefully Tell now and will come in and give the boys a boost and give a bit of competition for the rest of the lads in the squad.
Absolutely. And just on that point, just to be very, very clear on where we are right now, I think it's important to just bringing you in on this point that I know it hasn't been everybody's perfect window so far. Let's just be clear, it hasn't been everybody's perfect window, but here we are on deadline day. Spurs are closing in on the signing of Tell. We're yet to understand if that is a permanent or a loan move. But I think the one that is really causing a lot of frustration amongst the fan base is this move for Guehi and Disasi, where it's on, it's off. I mean, how do you feel, Teej? I've got to ask you this. You're quite a positive fan. How do you feel about the fact that we've got two players that have, it feels publicly rejected Tottenham, and yet we are still trying to get these players over the line? How does that make you feel, Teej, from your perspective?
Firstly, of course, it's lovely to be back on the show. Lovely to meet you, Ant. It's, we've had some conversations and stuff, so it's lovely to be on with you.
An interesting conversation.
Well, my friend. So listen, I've been listening to the show all day. Like Rick said, I'm over in Florida right now, sort of on holiday, and it was lovely I was riding around on a bicycle and I had the phone in the little basket. I was listening to everything. So listen, we've already had every analogy, and so what I'm going to say just very briefly, delighted that Tell has come, and to Johnny's analogy that he did a couple of hours ago, it was that hot girl that we approached and she said, trot on, and then got rejected by all the best looking guys at the dance. And we came back and said, listen, we're not the best looking, but we do have a few moves if you'd like to have a spin. And she went, go on then. So, that's where we are with him. And I'm delighted about that. If Harry had a hand in it, then wonderful. I'm going to believe that he did, just for the romance of it. And as far as Axel, movie or no movie, no. All sorts of no, but I don't want that to kind of dominate what I'm going to be talking about on the show today. I think we probably all feel the same about him, so I don't want to, keep flogging that poor horse. Yeah. So, Tell, delighted. Axel, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting, next few hours of the way in which the club are going to manage this situation. I mean, Johnny, just coming over to you, I think we're in a quandary, aren't we? There'll be many that are relieved that Tottenham are signing a forward on deadline day. By how much? I know me and Ant speak every day, bless him, we need a forward. But at the same time, Johnny, it feels like it's coming at a cost where, again, we made that point. If we brought him in earlier, how much could it have helped us and obviously made a difference in terms of those Premier League games? Do you feel confident the fact that we're going to, again, I asked you this earlier with Tell, that if we can get him that regular game time that I'm sure he's been assured of, because again, we mentioned that point, and just had a phone call with him. He's convinced him of the project. Just to be very clear for those that have missed it, he's rejected the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United for this move, we're led to believe. Does that give you the confidence that the player does want to be here? Because I think that is what a lot of Spurs fans might feel right now. When you're hearing we're going after players that maybe have rejected us, how confident are you we will see the best Tell at Tottenham?
Listen, he's got a point to prove. He wasn't getting any game time at Bayern. So for him to come here, I think it's the only place where he's guaranteed to get game time. He wasn't guaranteed game time at Arsenal or Chelsea, maybe Man U with the mess they're in. But I think it was the best option. As I said to you earlier, maybe you had the situation where Tell's gone to speak to Harry Kane and Harry Kane's saying, got to go Spurs. It's a great club. It'll be great for your career. And he goes out positive. Then he bumps into Eric Dyer in the corridor and he says, don't bother going there. That Daniel Levy, waste the time. Don't bother. So maybe that was the chopping and changing. Look, he's positive. He's good for the club. He's got a point to prove. The only thing that I'm a little bit upset about, look, it's a stinking deal because all we're doing is we're helping Bayern promote the player and help him boost his career. If we haven't agreed,
that's on the basis. Yeah, go for it. Sorry,
if we haven't agreed a fee, right? You have to have a fee agreed, right? Otherwise, it's pointless. If he turns up and he has an unbelievable 3.5 months, and he helps us win the Europa League, his value's going through the roof. It's ridiculous. And that's how you know that this is a lastminute.com and the whole board, Lang, the whole recruitment outfit are a farce. You know, you can't sell us that this was planned. I'm sorry, it wasn't, because before this, it was Moani, who also didn't want to come to us. You know, there's a common theme here. If you've got plans, you go all out. And as Don Fabio would have been spinning 5 or 6 plates. He would have been spinning Moani, Tell, and God knows who else. Maybe even a Bueno, even though we weren't ever going to sign him. And you end up with one top quality recruit. This is amateur hour.
I just wonder, I mean, and look, we speak a lot about what Spurs are doing on and off the pitch. I mean, the crazy thing is, we were speaking earlier and I was seeing your messages flying through. We've got Beyonce for 4 nights and suddenly the club have pulled that out. We've got quickly better delete that. Then we've got this Tell move going on. I mean, are you on the same vision as Johnny that with the Tell deal, if it's not got some form of obligation or option in there, how disappointing would that be for you if it's just a straight loan, or is it just a case now of bringing a forward in to support Ange Postecoglou?
Well, it's a dry loan, as Johnny was saying, and we all said. So effectively, we're helping him build his match fitness up. Gonna, give him a couple of games. Is he a starter? I hope he is, because what's the point? I want to see this kid. I've heard a lot about him. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a Bundesliga expert. So what I've read, what I've seen, people have said he's a top player, and I hope he's top for our club. But having said that, why wasn't this done, or why didn't we bring in players that Ange wanted and the board wanted earlier on in the window? We're 8, 9 games in, as I said when we started talking. It's just not good enough, and we need to. How many games is Tell going to be playing now? How many games left of the Prem? 14, 13 games.
Yeah, that's right. Run that.
Right. So then we got 30, say he plays 10 of them games. Then the FA Cup, if we go on a nice little run, another 3, 4, please. FA Cup. If the football gods are up there, we get to a semi or a final. Amazing. That's another 4 games. League Cup. Can he play in the league? Then we've got Europa. All right. So effectively, he's hopefully got. If he stays fit, he's going to be playing between 15 and 18, 19 games this season.
Yeah.
Is that good enough? Is that good enough for where we are now?
Well, I go back to that point of how you feel as a fan, because I know you're one of the most passionate Tottenham fans there are. How do you feel around the fact that, again, you've got players that have outwardly rejected us and they're putting a Tottenham shirt on? Does that bother you, or do you just think, if they give 100%, you don't care? Does that have a massive impact on you as a fan?
Yeah, at first it bothered me, Rick, but then I think, why am I going to... They're not attached to the club. They're not associated. No. They just want to play football. And if Ange and everyone could give Tell guaranteed first-team football week in, week out, and he scores the winner on Thursday against Liverpool, he'll be an absolute hero. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So it's one of them swings and roundabouts, isn't it? We always joke about Werner, but I always say to you, Rick, knowing our luck, Werner will play the final, and we get to a final, and he'll score the winner and be a Ricky Villa type god, winning us a trophy. So
you mean to tell me my dad named me after Ricky Villa on the back of Werner's kind of form? What are you trying to do to me? You trying to kill me?
Well, I don't know, mate. I was named after. I don't know who I was named after, but no. Do you know what I mean? So
that's a different show. That's a different show.
Am I happy with the recruitments? Yes and no. Should we have done better? Absolutely. They should have come in earlier. There should have been a plan. Come Jan the 1st, bang, 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 bang. Because they might have helped us playing against Arsenal, Everton's, who we play like Newcastle's, Forest.
Well, Leicester. I mean, look, you look at. I will make this point. You look at the fixtures Tottenham have had with relation to the January period. There is an argument, Teach, coming over to you, that if you did bring in the likes of Tell, if you did bring in Danso earlier, I said this on the previous show earlier, and you might have heard this. I refuse to believe Tottenham would have lost to Everton, lost to Leicester, if we had those players in there and given Ange Postecoglou the opportunity to rotate and have a little bit more freshness. Do you agree, Teach, if we moved a bit earlier?
Yes, absolutely, and I think that we're all on the same page there, chaps. What we have to understand, and I know it's difficult, but again, I think we're a pretty pragmatic fan base, and I think also after so many years of abject failures on behalf of our owners, we've kind of reached a point of consensus and unity. But we also have to understand that even if we had approached Tell at the beginning of the window, turns us down. We're just not a very appealing prospect right now. And of course, footballers, especially young footballers, they're all on social media, right? So everybody's reading the same things that we are. And so if you are reading countless articles about how Tottenham are in free fall because of, serial neglect from ownership, if you're a young player, and I said this on the show yesterday, in all honesty, how long is your career? Is it 10 years? Is it 12 years? That's such a precious amount of time. You're going to be looking at every single day to maximize your potential, especially to Anthony's point. If you're a really promising player with great stats, Ricky posted a photo and he's got wonderful stats. He seems like a young, electric, exciting player. Would you want to give any of those days, let alone years, to a club who is, quote unquote, in free fall? So whilst I'm never going to say we've done great business here bringing in players on the last day, I am going to say, but we have brought in a player on the last day. And so let's be really positive about that. Let's be really optimistic about that. Again, to Anthony's point, let's hope that he does come on Thursday and score the winner and solidify his name in Tottenham history, even if it's for a brief period. And also, he's a young man. He might have the jolliest time ever. He might. Somebody posted that Odebear is friends with him. He might waltz into the 7-star hotel that is the Tottenham Hotspur training facility and think, my goodness, I don't want to go home. Moussa Sissoko famously got into trouble with his wife because he didn't want to go home. He was spending too much time at the training facility. And so he might come in and just have a jolly time. And, if he does, God knows the fan base are so ready to embrace a new hero. So, and we spoke about yesterday as well with lovely Marlon. He was talking about the away fans at the Brentford game and just how passionate we are and how ready we are to be a great partner in a loving relationship. He might find it at Tottenham, gang. So listen, I know it's an initial loan and a fee hasn't been set, but things change all the time in football, as we know. Not 24 hours ago, I was on this program saying we don't bring in a forward. In here I am eating a marvelous, big, thick slice of humble pie. So let's see. Let's be happy that we've got in a few players. As far as rating the windows, okay, it is what it is. But moving forward from this point, we've brought in Danzo, who looks wonderful. We've brought in Tell and obviously Kinski as well. We're in a far better position now than we were a month ago.
Oh, I don't think anyone can deny that. I think by bringing in Danzo and bringing in Kinski, we're in a much more stronger position. I think, again, it goes back to that point, Stephen, you're right, to try and bring that balance to the show. There will be fans implore me to say this as well, that the argument is we actually touched upon. If you bring those players in at the start of the month and give the club the best chance possible in terms of the league, then who knows what we could achieve. I mean, I must just say we are receiving some breaking news from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Spurs are potentially interested in doing a deal for defender Ko Itakura. That is from Borussia Mönchengladbach. The issue is now, and again, this is why we always say on deadline day, when you need things this late, this is the problem. Mönchengladbach would need to find a replacement if they are to let Ko Itakura go. Now, we've actually been reporting this from the start of the window. Friend of the show, Paul O'Keefe, who joins us from 9 p.m. UK time, Paul did confirm to us that Itakura is seen as a backup option for Tottenham. And we understand, just to be very, very clear, this is a player Spurs are keen on bringing to the football club. Again, it comes back to that issue with regards to, at this stage, same as Mark Guehi, the reasons why Palace would not let Mark Guehi go was because they have got no time to find a replacement.
Exactly. So why didn't they sort that out early in the window? I love Mark Guehi. I think he'd be brilliant at our club. Yeah. But you can't expect Palace to sell to us because they ain't got a replacement.
On the 3rd of February. Yeah. Again, it will come back to that point. It will come back to that point. I mean, and with the situation we're in right now, given the fact that we know obviously everyone's feeling around Disasi, we listen, he's not everyone's cup of tea out there. And I think we've made it very clear that I think any player that seemingly, reportedly, can I just say, rejected Tottenham, the amount of time this man has in the last 24 hours, do you think now we just need to throw hell for leather and go for Ko Itakura, who apparently is a target, and have to try and hope that Mönchengladbach can find a replacement? And is that where you'd be mindset-wise now?
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I mean, again, it's 7 o'clock at night. It's 8 o'clock in Germany, and where they're gonna listen. I hope they do. I hope we do go in for this kid, but it's just everything's too late now. Do you know what I mean? It's just silly, absolutely silly. And I hope I'm eating my words. I hope this kid comes because He's a good prospect, I've heard. So listen, I'm not a Bundesliga expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I have heard this kid's name mentioned a lot, and I remember Paul O'Keefe saying on the show here about him. So if we can get it over the line, great.
Yeah.
But it's 8 o'clock over there, and when does their window close? Is it 11?
I think they are on the same time. And I mean, just on that point, Johnny, I know you're quite good on these kind of foreign players and research on them. What do you think Itakura would offer that Disasi wouldn't? Because I think that would be intriguing to know what your take would be on a player of his ability, a player that we understand Spurs have been looking at during the course of this window. What's your vibe in terms of what this player could open the door to us that maybe Disasi wouldn't for a lot of fans out there?
I mean, listen, look, he's not a young kid. I mean, he's 28 years of age, bought by Manchester City from Japan. I think he's been loaned out 4 or 5 times now. He's not, in my opinion, anywhere near as good as the Japanese boy that's at Bayern Munich, who we were linked to.
He's class.
Yes, I will find his. Yes, I know who you're
what's his
referring
name? I've had a Japanese block, and I haven't even had any sushi today. What's his name? I'm trying to.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I mean, guys in the comments, help us out if you know. Kim Min Jae. I think Kim Min Jae.
No, not Kim Min Jae.
This is so bad, isn't it?
No, that's the Korean. It's the Japanese.
My apologies. We're going through a lot. 1 year.
Rick, have you got every player on? Rick, if I name a player,
hang on, what's his name?
Not back to your era, man. Keep
Rick,
calm.
have you got every player on standby like with a thing? So if I name a player, can you get him up?
He's got a picture of everyone.
Every player.
Give me 5 minutes warning without how you'll go back.
Player. Jose Dominguez, go.
I haven't got Jose Dominguez. No, I haven't got Jose.
He called up Beyonce, the Rolling Stones.
Maurizio Tarico. No, I haven't got him. Hossam Ghali. No, I haven't got Hossam Ghali. God. I must say at that point.
No, but
I think Hiroki Ito, I think we're referring to Hiroki Ito. I have to apologise. Hiroki Ito, I think we're referring to.
That's the one. That's the one I meant. Yeah. For me, he's on a much higher level than the boy at Borussia Mönchengladbach. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's not a kid. He's 28 years of age.
Wow.
He can play left back, right, and he's a defensive midfielder as well. He plays. He's a stocking filler, I would call him. For me, it's a stocking filler. If you have ambition, Mark Guehi, that's ambition, right? This guy's stocking filler. It's he will do. I can't see the point. If you have a project, then the project is over X amount of time. Then you start to acquire players bit by bit by bit, and you only acquire quality. And what we're doing here is filling in with dross or average.
Do you think, though, Johnny, just on that point there, just to be clear, though, is that why at the moment any move, just to be very, very clear, for Axel Disasi would be a loan rather than a permanent? And at the moment, with regards to the Tell deal is being left fairly open, where what we understand is Tottenham would like to, Spurs would like to bring him in on a permanent deal. However, the player does want to be
different levels.
Legend. Yeah.
Different levels. Because, look, you're talking about a quality 19-year-old who's got his whole future ahead of him, who at the age of 17, the skies was the limit, and he's had a little bit of a blip. To a Japanese guy who, no disrespect, who's 27 years of age, who's tried to make it at Man City, he couldn't make it. He's out in Germany in the Bundesliga. They're different levels. The same with Disasi. The only player, to me, that smacks ambition is Tell. That's the one, and we haven't got an option or an obligation.
I must just say, Spurs, in the last few minutes, we understand Tottenham have made a bid for the Burnley star Maxim Esteve. Tottenham understood to have put a bid in of 20 million GBP. Burnley are demanding 30 million. Again, I think it comes back to that point again, where you are in the window right now. If you're looking to attract any kind of player, the club are going to need time to replace, or they're going to want to be compensated accordingly for that. This is a French professional centre back playing for Burnley. I think Burnley have got a fairly decent record actually in the Championship in terms of keeping those clean sheets under Scott Parker. I mean, Tej, bringing it back round to you. I presume a club like Burnley that are looking to, of course, get back to the Premier League under Scott Parker, former Spurs player. This time going over to them now at kind of 7:10 in the UK when the deadline's 11. How hard is that for them to accept a bid like that when they're trying to get promoted themselves?
I mean, listen, it's all very difficult, especially as I was going to say alluded to, but there's been no illusion. I mean, we've absolutely been banging this nail on the head all day that we've left things, as is the Tottenham way, far too late. So, of course, we put ourselves in a far more precarious position than we would have been had we acted sooner. But listen, this is the nature of the beast. This is the club that we are right now. And so, again, I don't think anyone's going to benefit from me banging on about yet more profligacy and negligence. And so, listen, I don't watch the Championship. Like Anthony, I don't really watch the Bundesliga. So I can't really speak with any authority about these players. The fact that he's, a French centre-back, great. But, we had Clement Longley and he was an absolute disaster. So I just don't know. I think what is interesting, and I know that you talked about it on the show earlier, is that I do think that all of this demand for yet another centre-back does spell curtains for Romero. And I don't know how the rest of the fan base feel or how you chaps feel. I do think he's going to go in the summer. Yeah. And I personally won't be heartbroken. I won't be. He just, I mean, he's a good player, but again, he's just not a bit like Lo Celso, bled blue and white, but sky blue and white for Argentina. Yeah. Not for white and navy for Tottenham. And so, yes, a world-class player, but just so foolish in his decision making and was often, a hindrance rather than a help. So I do think that he's going to go. Hence all this attention again around another centre back. And maybe we're already looking at Radu and going, Well,
I think with Radu, I mean, just to bring up the latest on him, we understand he's going to be out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, fine.
And
fine.
But I agree.
We've still got Ben Davis, we've still got Van der Ven, we've still got Danzo, and obviously, listen, Archie Gray, who, potentially the most talented young player in the league right now. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that. No. I would be happy for rival fans to come back and dispute it and tell me another 18-year-old who's playing in the Premier League who, could lace Archie Gray's boots, because I don't know who that is. But as I opened on the beginning of the show, I love to be proved wrong. So I think that Romero's going. If it's this French chap from Burnley, good luck to him. Yep. It's not going to be Mark Guehi. Definitely not.
That's a shame. Sorry.
No, brother, for sure. Of course it is. But we're just not there yet. No. We're just not a club that's going to bid £70 million for Crystal Palace's captain, for 24-year-old nailed-on England starter Mark Guehi. Brother, I wish we were. But we are not. I know. And so, again, let's not waste our time and energy and the time and energy of the viewers and the listeners chasing on.
Bro.
I will just say on that point, I'm going to summarise as to where we are. We have got over 15,000 of you that are watching the show live. Again, thank you so much for all your incredible support for Last Word on Spurs. I'm joined by the wonderful Johnny Hammy. I'm joined by... We've had superstars enter the building here. We've Anthony Costa's over there from Blue. Bless his heart. Where's he over there? Somewhere over there.
No, TJ. I pointed to TJ.
TJ Rabini.
And I was pointing at you.
me and Johnny have been blagging this for the last about 7 hours at the moment, so we're going to keep on blagging before we let Johnny. Johnny's got to go in a minute to go and see Teddy Sheringham, so he's getting out lucky. We're still here at the moment. There's so much love, going to say, pouring in for everybody here. Look, let's give a summary as to where we are at this moment on deadline day before we do look to, like I say, wrap up where we are. So the big breaking news, as we understand at the moment, and before I do, guys, keep hitting the like button, keep hitting the subscribe button if you can, keep liking, keep subscribing. We appreciate all the support out there. Spurs are closing in on their top target as things stands in Mathys Tel. As things stand at the moment, we are unsure as to whether this will be a permanent or whether it will be a loan deal, but the player is undergoing his medical. He has already been spoken to by Ange Postecoglou, who has convinced him of the project, and that has led to him rejecting offers from Manchester United, from Chelsea, from Arsenal. He believes the destination he wants to be at now, 4 days after Daniel Levy and Johan Lang went to Germany, came back without him, he believes Tottenham is going to be his next destination, and they are still trying to do a deal. We understand Spurs as things that at present, the move for Axel Disasi from Chelsea is stuck. it is stuck. The player does not want to come to Tottenham. He has outright rejected a move to Tottenham. However, Tottenham have agreed in principle a fee with Chelsea, a loan fee until the end of the season. We understand due to the fact Disasi does not want to come, Tottenham are looking at alternative defenders in the market. They have looked at Ko Itakura from Borussia Mönchengladbach. The issue with that potential move as things stands is that Borussia Mönchengladbach would need to find a replacement if they are to let him go. And the news we're having through in these last few minutes is that Tottenham have submitted a 20 million bid to Burnley, which has been outright rejected for their French defender, Maxime Esteve, who's been part of a back four for the Clarets that have conceded only 9 goals in their last 29 championship games and have kept 20 clean sheets during this season. He's seen as a stalwart of that defence. Burnley refusing to sell unless it's going to be a £30 million offer. So it's going to be a busy last few hours on this deadline day of Last Word on Spurs. Guys, we're going to summarise, we're going to close. Johnny's got to go to see Teddy Sheringham. TJ's got to sun himself in beautiful Florida. And it's going to just be Anne. He's going to be on stage soon in the near future and just be doing everything blue. I've got to say, every time I speak to a man, he's in a different location, different site, and doesn't look amazing.
I'm in a hotel room tonight. I'm up near Birmingham, so I'm in a hotel. I'm doing a bit of filming tomorrow. So all will be revealed.
And I hope you won't mind me saying this, Anne. You know, a lot of people that come back on here after watching Tottenham, they look 10 years older. You've come back on here. You look, I've got to say, you look absolutely amazing, mate. Bless your heart. You look absolutely amazing. We love you very much.
The grey hairs are coming through. The grey hairs are coming through.
When you were saying though backstage your hair and makeup, you weren't joking, were you? I mean, look, TJ's looking like he's just come off of a set. Lounging.
TJ looks like he's just come out of a salon, you know. David Gino, that stuff.
Salon selective. Yes.
Because I'm worth it. Look at that.
Very suave and sophisticated. Yeah. Listen, TJ.
Can't we sign him up? Look at that, Paul. Look at that control. What are we doing wrong? Get him off the pod. Get him on the pitch. Someone, please.
Yeah, it's got great. TJ, I just want to ask you, how's everything in California? Because
that's lovely of you, Johnny. Thank you, mate. Yeah, you know, I said on the show before, it's slightly precarious for us. We did have to evacuate for a few days, but, you know, I'm not going to moan about having to sit in the hotel for a couple of days when so many people, thousands of people have lost everything. Yeah. I do think it's irrevocable damage to the city, to be honest with you. But we are safe and sound. Appreciate you asking. Love to all the Tottenham fans who sent lovely messages. But we are okay. Thank you, Johnny. LA itself in trouble, definitely, but you know we'll rebuild.
Okay. Send you loving, bro. Send love. Send love.
I've got to say, guys, before we go, I've got to say the worst news. You know, every time we go to try and end this show, something else kicks off in the background. Our worst news that we brought to you earlier today has been feared, and that is the news we understand that Radu Dragusin has suffered an ACL injury and will miss the rest of the season. That is confirmed by Tottenham. Radu Dragusin has tore his ACL. He will miss the remainder of the season, and that is why you're now seeing Tottenham in a frantic hunt in these last few hours of this January transfer window, scouring what is left on the market for a centre-back. Just to be very, very clear on those centre-back options as we stand, Axel Disasi, we understand at the moment, is refusing a move to Tottenham, doesn't want to come. Tottenham have an agreement with Chelsea with the player. They would have to work to find an agreement with the player still in these last few hours remaining. We understand Ko Itakura is another alternative for Tottenham in terms of an option of defence. Borussia Mönchengladbach want to have a replacement in place before they allow him to move, which puts that move in doubt. And as things stand, Tottenham are £10 million off the valuation which Burnley wants for French defender Maxime Esteve, who's only conceded 9 goals in their 29 championship games, kept 20 clean sheets, where I believe he has been an ever-present. A final question to close the show, if I can, guys. We'll bring you more on that in our next update on Radu Dragusin. And what can we do this season?
Anything. Try and get 10, top 10, and hopefully go all out for the cups, mate. Yeah, I'll be happy. Well, I won't, but you know what I mean. That's why I'm wearing this, brother.
Can we win a cup? Do you think we can win a cup? Can we do it?
Just depends. Of course, I want us to. Of course, I want us to go all the way. The League Cup's looking the most likely as we're talking tonight. but I don't think. But then, Villa on Sunday, Marcus Rashford makes his debut. You know what happens, my brother.
Don't start. We know you with your predictions. And we're going to love you very much. We're going to hopefully see you back here very, very soon. I can't tell you people say to me, where is Ant? Can we get him on more? We try and work with Ant. We've got him back. I say we work where we can with him. I got to say, you hear me talk about him more than you see him. But listen, we love him very much. He's on it. He's on every show. I think Tina heard Ant quoted on every show. He's thinking, is he alive? He's not an AI model. He is there. There you go. He's in person. He's wearing the colours.
The game? I don't know if you saw the game with when Radu got injured. But I could not believe on the sideline, the medical team were making him do squat jumps after he went down, holding his neck, screaming. And they're saying, do squat jumps. And I'm on the other side of the pitch going absolutely mad, saying, what are you doing? What are you doing, right? The guy's put his hand up. He's screaming. The players have all come around him. There's obviously an issue, right? Take him off the pitch. Go and get him scanned. But no, they're making him do squat jumps. How many of those squat jumps did he do that aggravated that ACL injury? I don't get it at all.
I don't get it at all, mate. I did. Well, coming on to what you're saying, John, I did see that on Thursday, and I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
Listen, we'll have to see. It's not good news for Tottenham. He will miss the remainder of this season. TJ word for Radu Dragusin. And I think TJ, it's fair to say that we've not yet seen the best of him in a Spurs shirt. And it's again not to try and be too negative. We've seen the nature of ACL injuries. Some players, they don't ever get back to the player they are. I'm sure you'll wish him, as we all will do, TJ,
of course,
the best of luck. And we wish a speedy recovery.
The best. And it hasn't been the greatest opening for him. He's one of those players that we see him play for Romania and think he could do a job for us. Obviously, we're desperate for recruits. Hand on heart, right now, I don't think he's a Tottenham player. I just think he's a little bit too cumbersome. I think he'd do better at a more defensively minded team. Yeah. I don't know who that is, or a more defensively minded manager. But listen, I wish him all the very best, to him and his family. It must be a very difficult time. His first season in England, and he goes down with such a horrid injury. And to your point, Rick, those kind of knee injuries can linger. So let's hope that it's not that. He's a young man. He's a lump as well. He's a big, strong boy. So hopefully he'll be back. And who knows, maybe back and better than ever. I'll get yet another slice of humble pie to feast upon as and when he returns. But yes, we do need to bring somebody else back through the door because who knows what will happen with Romero. And I would love to see Archie Gray played in his preferred position. But for my money, he's looked far more solid on the right side as a central defender rather than at either fullback. And obviously with Spence playing so well, Porro still doing so well, although he must be tired. Udogie hopefully coming back soon. That Gray will get more opportunities to play as part of the central pair, and so hopefully he'll flourish there. What a player he is!
He's been brilliant. He's
been outstanding, brother. 18 years old.
Yeah.
I couldn't find my own ass with both hands when I was 18.
I know, bro. I couldn't even tie my shoelaces at 18. So
absolutely.
Still looking now.
Just on this point of
you know this top, what a badge, what a badge. Who's the first player you think of with this top on?
Great.
Rule Fox for some reason.
Rule Fox?
I don't know what I think of Rule Fox.
Darren Anderson.
Darren Anderson.
Aging yourself, Rick.
Yeah, I know, I tell you.
It's gotta be Teddy, mate. I don't
Teddy.
know why. Of course, Teddy,
I'm going to see him now. I'm going to
Jay's off to see him now. Jay's getting away from the window. Jay, I want to say
get me something signed, John.
Huh?
Get me something signed. I'll pay you.
I think I've got to pay extra to say hello to him. I'll just go and listen. But I'll if I get anything signed, don't worry. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Him and Klinsmann.
Now I know you're a super fan.
Well, on that
Klinsmann,
point,
man. Him and Klinsmann. Oh, mate.
Well, this goes back to, I've got to say, many would argue the last time we signed a player of that quality and would probably be Jurgen Klinsmann in terms of a window.
Jurgen.
Or Rafa. How many years?
Or Van der Vaart, 2010.
Eddie was as good on the pitch as he was in the nightclub, to be honest. You know?
And I think on that point we're gonna leave it there because we could go into a difficult watershed. I want to say a massive
Right, I
thanks to
love
the
you
wonderful
all,
Johnny
boys.
Hammy. Johnny's been with us for 7-8 hours. Johnny, we love you very much. Please make sure you go and checking Johnny out. Talking Tottenham 1882. Johnny H3232 on the old X. TJ Ramini, he's on X. He's on Instagram. He's got quizzes going on now to keep us occupied as Spurs break our hearts. And Anthony Costa's always somewhere on tour, bless his heart, in all parts of the world. Make sure you're checking Ant out all over the world.
Love you
Follow
all,
him on
man.
Instagram, follow him on X. Listen, we have been the last word on Spurs. We're battering in about half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm going back through casting. TJ's getting on the sunbed. Ant's going on tour. Johnny's off to see Teddy Sheringham. Guys, we love you very much. We'll see you very soon. Hit subscribe, hit
soon.
like. We're back with you soon.
on, you
As
Spurs.
always, come on, you Spurs.
Well, you Spurs. Thank